As you can see, this proscenium theater was not actually intended to be a theater at first. In fact, it was originally intended to be the Yarub Shrine Temple, the headquarters for a 5,000-member Shriners organization. As you can see, this proscenium theater was not actually intended to be a theater at first. In fact, it was originally intended to be the Yarub Shrine Temple, the headquarters for a 5,000-member Shriners organization. The original architecture can be divided into two styles: the Islamic style, as you can see here, and the Egyptian architecture. This theater is impressive in that most of its original architecture and its instruments still survive, just like the Mighty Mo, a 42-rank pipe organ with 3,622 pipes, making it the second largest theater pipe organ in the country.
All lighting crew members from these tours. So this is the Wiz in 92. Here's all the spotlight operators. Or Camelot, 86 spotlight operators. Hello Dolly in 92. It kind of just goes around. 87 Dreamgirls. They do that kind of everywhere, all around the theater. There's up in our fly rail system, like above the stage, there's all sorts of same kind of things. Phantom of the Opera, 1987. Their crew signs it. Kind of just their way of leaving a mark. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So this is actually the original spotlight to the Fox Theater. It's one of the very original instruments. Now, it's not entirely in working order, but it's still cool that they have all the original instruments that the Fox came with. And the fact that this has been since 1929, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think over 15 years, maybe a little longer. Just about 8 years ago, we got these new spotlights, which are 2,000 watt spotlights. So what's crazy is that Broadway kind of consistently grows, it gets more powerful. So even though we got these 8 years ago, they are now obsolete to Broadway. So Newsies is loading in a couple hours, and we'll actually take all of these out and bring more powerful ones in. Kind of silly.
Now, the interesting thing about the Fox Theater is that it's unlike other theaters. Now, the interesting thing about the Fox Theater is that it's unlike many other theaters in the fact that it has no permanent lighting fixtures. In fact, all the shows that come here bring their own lighting fixtures, making this one of the largest roadhouses in the country. In fact, there's not even electrics in the house, like front of house 1 or front of house 2, or just simple electrics up here, making it a very unusual theater in that aspect. The Alliance Theater has become one of the most prominent locations here in Atlanta, being the South's premier regional theater and working in conjunction with the Grammy-winning Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, which plays in the Atlanta Symphony Hall, and the leading art museum in the Southeast, the High Museum of Art. The 770-seat Proscenium Alliance stage and the 200-seat Hertz stage allow the theater to offer around 10 to 12 productions annually. October 5th, 19. The Woodruff Art Center itself opened on October 5th, 1968, when the leading Atlanta civic and art leaders crashed while taking off from Orly Airport in Paris. The Atlanta community banded together in order to sort of remember them and created the Memorial Art Center. It was renamed, however, in 1982 to the Robert W. Woodruff Art Center to honor its greatest benefactor. When it opened, the Art Center included the Atlanta College of Art, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, and the High Museum of Art. The Alliance Theater was added as a 4th division in 1970, and 35 years later, the 5th division, Young Audiences, now the Art Center for Learning, was also added.
We have both. I'll show you the production level. So the stage is almost fully trapped. So there are panels that we can remove from the stage to create elevators, etc. There's a crossover built into this set back here. So there's a show drop that flies in with painted muslin, and then a bounce and all the electrics, and then this is a soft crossover for the actors. This path right here.
Okay.
To light the cyc and to light these translucent legs. I'll show you. Just don't step off the deck. So this is a scenic element. Allows us to change color. It's a seamless muslin, but then has these ropes applied and a China silk glued to it to give it this texture, and then painted. And then it's lit from the inside with this stack of LED lighting fixtures. This show, Tuck Everlasting, has a turntable, a donut. So it's two turntables that can turn together or in opposite directions or at different speeds, or not one can turn and one not turn.
Okay.
It also has in the center about a 6-foot diameter lift. So this is what we're calling the silo. This small circle rises up about 10 feet with two actors on it during the show. Allows us to, could be a house structure on this turntable and furniture on this turntable, and they can turn in opposite directions, or the donut delivers the furniture downstage. So the stagehands are putting the furniture on up there, and then the turntable, the donut turns, and the furniture ends up here.
So about how many people does it take, and how many different departments does it take to put together just one production?
So there are 6 departments at the Alliance: scenery, costumes, lights, sound, stage operations, and props. And each of those departments are different sizes, and we hire people to supplement our normal staff also. But for this show, we have 6 people on the run crew. We have 4 people in costumes who are dressing. We call those guys wardrobe. There are 4 lighting technicians, 1 person running the light board, 3 people running follow spots all the way up in the back of the house. There are 3 3 sound technicians, somebody running the sound console, and then what we call an A2 position. So we have 2 people on stage, because all these actors are wearing wireless microphones. So they're, the microphone's either placed here on their ear, and then they have a battery pack. So somebody's monitoring the battery packs and the RF signals from all of those microphones. So there's a position stage right and stage left for that.
So if you were to guess how many total people it takes, including the actors and including the stage managers, and including contractors that come in and help out, how many people would you say?
Well, so just running the show, there are probably around 55 people here every night. So that includes actors, orchestra, all the people, all the crew backstage. The scene shop, there's probably around 12 people that built and painted and textured the scenery, and 5 or 6 people in the props department. There's a couple, I don't know if you're familiar with the story or not, but there's a toad in the story, and we're using puppet. We have a relationship with the Atlanta Center for Puppetry Arts, which is just 2 blocks over. So they helped us with some puppets for the toad. And I'll show you one of those. I think they're getting painted. They may not be available. And then in the costume shop, we have more people that work in the costume shop than work in the scene shop. So the total number of people working on the production from the Alliance point of view is probably close to 100. 59 line sets on 6-inch centers. Each line set can handle around 1,500 pounds of scenery. And the way the counterweight, it's a counterweighted system. So whatever the scenery weighs, you put on the arbor, and then it takes a reasonable amount of power to move something that weighs 1,500 pounds.
Now, the Fox Theater, they had the system where you could manage the fly from here,
Yeah.
but then you can also manage the flies from up on a balcony.
Right,
there.
and we do have a mid-gal, but it does not have a locking rail on it.
Okay.
So we run all of our line sets during the show from this level.
Okay.
Also, there's a loading bridge up at about 80 feet. So what happens? When you lower the batten comes all the way into the ground, basically, and then this arbor will be all the way up at the load bridge. So then you hang your scenery, apply the counterweight, and then fly it out. So like you lower the pipe in, you hang all your lights on it, and then you put the equal amount of weight onto the arbor, and so that when you pull down on the rope, then you can make it move. Everlasting to go to Broadway. Casey Nichola's directing. He's co-director for Book of Mormon. Just did Aladdin on Broadway. The intent is for the producers to pick this show up and move it to Broadway. They will make changes between this concept and the concept in New York, so that there will be different shops that build the scenery for the New York show. So you'll never see this exact production anyplace else. So the Alliance is part of a group of regional theaters called LORT, the League of Regional Theaters, and around the country there are theaters that are the Alliance size, a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller, that all have a consortium. And as a regional theater, everything is self-produced. So we're building our own scenery, we're building our own costumes, we're doing light plots and sound plots unique for each show. And so what you see on the Alliance Theater stage, you'll never see in another theater in the country, probably. We do have co-productions with other regional theaters in the country. So we might build this scenery and then ship it to, say, the Arena stage in Washington, D.C., and they might do the same show, but it won't travel to all the roadhouses like the Fox or Cobb Energy Center.
Okay.
So trolley goes up onto the I-beam structure. You sit in a chair and strap yourself in.
And then this is where you carry all your tools?
Yeah, tools, and it's also, you drop the bag down if somebody needs to send you up color or...
Okay. This itself goes onto the I-beam?
Yep. And it just rolls.
Great. Our tour, we went into not crawl space, but sort of just the overhead. We were straight above the audience. Victor showed us the winches and everything that move these rods. Also, we went up to the follow light booth right up there. 3 spotlights, high grade. Basically everything there is to see. Alright, so basically we went up these stairs to the first balcony right there.
Catwalk or
just the catwalk.
Yeah.
And then, so that's about 30 feet high. And then we went all the way up. If you look straight up, you'll see those railings going across, those like boards and everything going across. That's the grid. We went all the way up there. That's 80 feet. So if you're a 6-foot person, your head is 90 feet high, right there.
Wireless microphone rack and intercom system, as well as patch panel for digital video. And you see all the wireless receivers here. And there.
Just that tells you the specific actor.
Yep.
So, okay, so like Sarah Lewis would be this frequency, Michael would be this frequency. Yep. Okay.
And we can actually monitor the battery pack power and the RF signal on a computer system off of that monitor that's mounted right there.
Okay.
And this is our green room space. So we share this with the symphony and everybody else in the building, like the maintenance team and security.
And you can also see just what's going on.
So that's the Alliance stage, and the smaller video is the Hertz stage.
Okay.
And we also have audio feed, so you can sit in the green room, see and hear the show, know when to make your entrance. So this is a 2-person dressing room. And then we have a series, we have 5 2-person dressing rooms, a 5-person dressing room, and then we have 2 large ensemble dressing rooms. So I can seat around 16 people. This is male and female. I didn't tell these guys they were going to be on video, so you can say what you introduce yourself and say what you do, right?
Hi, I'm Leah Preston. I'm a costume design assistant, and
What's a costume design assistant do?
Well, I coordinate with the designer, between the designer and the shop. And so we measure actors, and then the designer sends us his or her designs, and then we create them. So we put together a big binder. They're giant. For example, this is the Tuck Principal binder.
And you would have
so-
just a bunch of ideas in here?
Well, it would go by character. So we've got swatches, and we've got the designs. So each look has the swatches and what kind of fabric we're using.
And do you
It
like
goes
working
with it.
like this? Like,
I love
is this your
Yeah,
passion?
It's really fun. I went to school for this, so I majored in costume design. Yeah.
Great.
This lunchtime.
And so, what exactly are you working on right here?
I am moving snaps over to the very edge so that the fabric doesn't peel up when she's dancing on stage.
And do you work? What is like your job in the costume shop? What do you?
I'm the draper. I make patterns, I fit the actors, I make mock-ups, and then hand it over to a first hand who may cut it out and stitch it together, and then usually there's somebody else doing finishing work, sewing on buttons and snaps. Right now we're in tech, so we're doing works and fixes, all the things.
Great, thank you.
Crafts work, so this is her space. She dyes fabric, she dyes leather, she makes hats, she makes masks, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of dyes around and other paint products, specialty glues, a spray booth, so we suck out all the poisonous fumes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How long have you been here at the Alliance?
29 seasons.
29 seasons. Wow.
So we have people that have been here for as long as Anna, and then this is their first season. So we have guys in the scene shop that have never worked here before.
And so you work on just making the materials themselves, or what is it that exactly?
Okay, my job encompasses I make millinery, I make hats. If there are things that have to happen to shoes, like I distressed those shoes because they were brand new looking, they need to look old.
Okay.
We've made shoes, although not very often, and they're awkward, but I dye and paint fabric, so if it's not the right color, fabric, or a costume, then I dye it in my dye vat, which is over there. I also age things, so in this way that I painted those shoes down, I would do that same thing to a costume. I do masks. If there's armor in the show, I'm in charge of that. If there is jewelry, I do that. All the accessory kind of things, and the messy bits.
And this is a laundry service, so wardrobe every night, or add whatever the prescribed schedule is. They wash people's laundry, make sure it's ready for the next show. Some things actually went out to the dry cleaners last night at midnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow so that we can use them in rehearsal.
Okay.
So, and this is the orchestra pit.
And this isn't lowered, correct?
It's partially lowered.
Partially lowered.
Yeah. See you out of this, but So this is the orchestra pit elevator.
Mm-hmm.
This floor travels from the floor that we're standing on up to the stage level.
Okay.
And then everything that's built on top of this is unique for this show.
Okay.
So this is
And
really...
we're right below the audience right now.
Yep, this is the first row of the audience right here. Here. And this is what we call a trap room.
Oh, and this is where you would have a donut and everything.
So, yep, you remove the floor so you can see that the red unit there is the silo. So this is a cable-driven elevator system.
And then this is the donut right here, or not the donut, but the very center
This is the
piece.
centerpiece, yep, we call the silo.
And that's what you raise up.
Yep.
So this actually just raises up and goes up that wire, and then the entire stage sort of, well, that part of the stage just goes up.
Yep. Winch, motor, gearbox, has digital encoder, electric brake, etc. And then the black box that's over there is a variable frequency drive.
So would somebody man this, or is it automated?
It's automated. It's a computer. It's run off a PC-based computer.
And so somebody just clicks a button and it
It's a
moves
go
up.
button, just like a light board.
Wow.
And it's all the moves are pre-programmed with an acceleration, a velocity, and a deceleration, and a time. So that creates a time frame. And we just want to do the same thing every night. This is a low smoke generator.
We have a fog machine.
So there's a G3 fog machine, and then it pumps the fog into the low smoke generator, which super cools the fog with using liquid CO2.
Okay.
So there's liquid CO2 that feeds into this unit, and then it pumps the fog out through these large flexible heating ducts.
And it goes on either side?
Yep. And when it rolls out low on the floor, like a low-level fog, creates a lake effect.
Okay. And is this the first?
So right now we've disassembled all the seating, and that's what all those stacks of stuff are. The steel frames, handrail, platforms.
Okay.
And then all the road boxes here are rental road boxes.
And would this is where the audience would be sitting?
It
Past that
depends.
curtain?
We do all. No, this is the room.
This is it. This is
Yep.
the room.
It's basically 40 feet wide, 70 feet long. Has a 15'9" grid. That grid.
So there's no fly space in here.
No fly space. And it's reconfigurable. So for Native Guard, we had a kind of a surrounding audience set up for a show we're doing in the spring called Edward Foote.
And so this here is our technical booth.
Are two smaller spaces, a movement studio. It's a sprung dance floor with mirrored wall, etc. And then a black box theater that only seats around 40 people. So it's a very small production.
So there are 5 spaces, but these are the only really 2 main theaters.
Yes, yeah. With public performances, sold public performances.
Okay.
And the little platform that's out is the sound operator. So the sound person can hear what's going on in the space.
And would somebody sit here? Would there be the light operator here?
Yeah. Nope, this is just sound.
Just sound. And so the light board would be inside?
Uh-huh. So stage manager sits here.
It's able to look at everything.
Yeah. And they also have video. We have 2 kinds of video. This is powered up. So it's hard to tell because there's not really color, but this is a color monitor, so you see everything with light on. And if you turn all the lights off, this is an infrared monitor, so you can see people walking around in the dark.
Okay.
So in case there's moving scenery or stuff, people, the stage manager, or like the show starts in the dark, and they want to make sure everybody's sitting at the table before the lights come up. Then she can see everybody come on stage, sit down, and then give the go cue for the light board operator or sensors interact. CD80s.
It's like the stuff that we saw at the Alliance, but sort of in a condensed form.
There's no wireless in this. This is actually the sound system backbone, so it has all the processing, sound web, delay, digital delays, all that stuff that are built into this system, as well as the patch panel. So there's plugs out on the grid, and you can take any plug on the grid to back here, patch it in to any output from the soundboard. So, things can get moved around easily. Star Trek.
Yes.
It's a very similar footprint to the Alliance Theater, except the stage is further back in the building. I'll show you a little ground plan. Right, we see almost 800, we see 1,800.
So 1,800 seats in 3 levels. This was recently added, the acoustic shell.
Yeah, and it's movable.
Okay.
So that whole acoustical shell can go back against that wall, and they can do other shows on the stage without the acoustic.
And then this is fly space, correct?
Yep.
And it's just, you have the curtains hanging up there.
I'm not certain, I can't remember which year this was built, but that little awning back there and the door went down to the basement of that building. And this was like a 2-story building, glass front on Peachtree, and that building is entombed in the Memorial Arts Building.
Okay.
So, and in past that louver door, the next room over, there's actually still windows in the wall. And then this goes into the Rich Theater.
It was first the High Museum, then became the Arts Alliance, which housed the High Museum and the Atlanta College of Art. And then, I don't know the years, I might have the years off, but in the 50s, they built, it was originally the house. And then they built this building called the Arts Alliance, the brick building, sometime in the 50s, I think. And then in 1962, the patrons of Atlanta that patronized the arts chartered a plane, went over to France to buy art for the museum and for their own collections. They had their trip. They were waving their flags saying, "Thank you, goodbye, France." Got on the plane.
The Orly Airport disaster.
Plane took off and
Crashed.
exploded, crashed, I don't know, because it was out of frame. They did find some footage, 16 millimeter footage, Richard McCaw found. He called me up and said, "Penny, did we have 16 millimeter film? Projectors?" I said, "Yeah, of course." He said, I found a reel of film. I think it might be of Orly." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can you come in tomorrow and run it?" I said, "Sure." And that's what it was. It was as soon as the plane took out of frame, then you saw the black smoke, and they all perished. And so the survivors that weren't on that plane, that possibly took a different flight or didn't go at all, decided we have to make a memorial to them. So they tore down most of the existing building, left the theater, and left the brick wall, and built the building around it, and called it the Memorial Arts Center. One of the major people that donated the money was Mr. Woodruff. He never wanted his name on anything. And so,
Even though now it's all over the place.
well, he passed away in the 80s, and then they renamed the Art Center Woodruff Arts Center, but this building is still the Memorial Arts Building.
Okay.
These are the original seats that those people sat in. They've been refurbished for the Olympics. It seats about, well, they've taken out some seats, so it seats about 419. If you have 75 people in here, it doesn't feel empty. It's just a magic theater. Actually, was in a landing between the 2 floors, like this. They were real marble stairs, the original ones. But he does film anymore, so. The only time I'll do film is if it's an archival print.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's Paul Benoit. If you haven't already seen my video on the theaters of Atlanta, you can do so by clicking this annotation here, or by following a link in the description below. I just wanted to take this time to clarify and demonstrate a couple concepts. First, you'll probably have heard of the term proscenium theater a fair amount. In ancient Rome, the stage area in front of the scanae frons, or the elaborately decorated background of a Roman theater stage, was known as the proscenium, meaning in front of the scenery. In Roman theater, no proscenium arch existed in the modern sense. However, Roman theaters were similar to modern proscenium theaters in the sense that the entire audience had a restricted range of views on the stage, all of which were from the front rather than the sides or the back. Many modern theaters are proscenium theaters, including Radio City Music Hall, Carnegie Hall, and the Broadway Theater. The house is simply where the audience sits. It's the auditorium. In the Renaissance period, the stages would be raked upward, away from the audience, in order to achieve the desired perspectives. This led to the terms upstage and downstage, as an actor that would be walking toward the back wall would literally be walking upstage. The electrics are pipes used to hang lights over the stage. These are numbered in order from downstage, or the part of the stage closest to the audience, to upstage. So if a theater has two electrics, the one farthest downstage would be called the first electric, and the one farthest away, or closest to the back wall, would be the second electric. Then, there are overhead lighting pipes located in the auditorium of a theater known as front-of-house positions. These are numbered in a similar manner, with the first front-of-house being closest to the stage and increasing in number to the back of the house, where normally you will find the booth. This is a room for lighting and sound in the rear of the auditorium, and also the position for follow spots, which are sometimes called front lights. Finally, the last place for lights is in the box boom position. A boom is any vertical pipe used to hang lights, and are located on the sides of the auditorium and usually close to the front of the stage. These are probably the most preferred methods of lighting. Both theaters I have covered also have traps, which are holes in the stage floor with removable covers, hence the trap room, and fly space, which is the space above the stage used for rigging, a term that encompasses the equipment used in hanging scenery and lighting over the stage, such as pulleys, ropes, arbors, and pipes. That should cover all of the terms used in these videos, and give you a better understanding of the different parts of a theater if you didn't already know them. Again, I would like to thank H. Buot for accompanying me and filming me on this production, Andrea Witta, Victor Smith, Leah Preston, Diana Thomas, Cindy Lou Hu, and Penny Stuppen of the Woodruff Arts Center, and Tyler Scott of the Fox Theater. I could not have done this without them. Finally, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.